everyone, welcome to another week of ProMAX Tech Talks. I'm Matt in the living room laboratory, and as always, I'm joined by my tech team. A few weeks ago, we had one of our customers join us to talk about some of the challenges of collecting mobile footage using your mobile device. This week, we're going to dive into some of the challenges he brought up that his team faced as they made this transition. And so this week, we'll be diving into how to overcome some of the challenges with phoneography. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button below to see the latest content from ProMAX Systems as it becomes available. So guys, let's get this started. What makes ingesting footage from a professional camera different from doing it on a mobile device? Mike, do you want to kick us off this week?
Yeah, there's quite a different workflow with each one because with cameras you have either SD cards, CF cards. I think what's the newest one, like XD or something like that?
They just announced like a new SD card class today or like this week that's stupid fast, so it'll probably be SD cards again. If it's not.
With those, you need a card reader and then just have it ported through your USB. Versus like a phone, it's a little bit more tough nowadays. I know with Android phones you can pretty much dock it right onto a computer nowadays, but I'm not sure with how iPhone is with PC anymore. Does it even show up as a drive?
It does. It shows up as a DCIM.
Yeah, and you've got an iPhone on a Mac. How do you ingest that from there, Mike?
Or drop everything at that point and just let the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth deal with it.
Yeah.
A little bit of easier workflow because it's like, oh, here's a button, boom, done.
You said you use AirDrop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
AirDrop's just a little bit easier because it's just like it's just a fluid way of doing things, but if I have to dock it, then it's a little bit different.
So you've got an iPhone 11 Pro, like the high, like the butt kicker. That's cool. How long does it take over AirPlay or to AirDrop to send like a 2-minute clip that's 4K and or whatever the thing shoots these days?
Like 2-3 minutes, depending on the size of the file and whatnot. It's not too bad.
Yeah. What's the most you've ever had to leave it sit there and transfer, like if you've gone on a shoot or something?
It's around there per single clips. If it's like a group of clips, let's say 4K, I'm doing like maybe like 30 minutes of clips, and it's going to be sitting there for like
so like a 30-minute transfer.
Yeah, and then you have to make sure like the screen doesn't time out and a few other things. Depending.
Okay, so it's not just plug and play then.
Well, I just checked it. It says the AirPlay transfer rate is 160 kilobits per second.
AirDrop, yeah.
Or AirDrop.
Are there any places that you've kind of ran into snags doing that besides like the bigger files that you've had to upload, Mike?
Mostly when that screen times out. If I'm going between like iPad and phone, then it'll time out. Then it's like, oh shoot, gotta do it again. So making sure things are plugged in.
Well, and on the Android phones too, almost all of them these days have SD card based storage, so you can actually just do a straight like media transfer on those devices, which could potentially go very fast depending on what you got.
Awesome. All right, thanks guys. So there are some options out there like AirDrop apparently, but let's say you filmed a file and you need to send it to someone. Why can't you just email that to someone? Patrick touched on that. He's had a lot of people send that to him through email, and it kind of down-resed him. Brian, do you want to talk about some of those problems that you can face when you're doing that?
Yeah, I can speak to that because being the guy who's set up multiple email systems for this company and others. But I mean, the single biggest obvious one is, most email systems, Gmail included, have file size limits that you can't really send somebody a 100 megabyte file and expect it to get there. The other side of it is it's pretty unwieldy, like letting the system upload. You're going to be sitting there a while. It's going to be stuck in the outbox, stuff like that. It just leads to potential problems. But the other factor, especially on like the iPhone does this by default, and I don't have personal experience with Android enough to know if it does this, but I believe it does. When you email somebody a video, generally it'll give you an option as to what how large that you want to make it to send it, and it is very easy. Like if somebody doesn't know like what that's really being asked, or what that's asking of them, they can very easily send you a highly compressed version of the video, which is debatably useful even on a phone screen, let alone getting into an edit. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that if you're not familiar with it, if you're asking someone to, shoot something with their phone and then send it to you, you've got to be very clear about, you need to send it in the large format or the original format. I'm not sure how it exact phrases it offhand, but those are the big ones. And frankly, just the size, especially when you get into phones like Mike's, the iPhone 11 and stuff, the size of those files is just huge. Like outside of, you get somebody talking at their phone for 5 minutes, which is really easy to do. If you ask somebody a question, like most of the time they'll go way longer than they need to, like me talking right now. But,
So I'm an Android user. Don't tell anybody. But I just tried to email a 2-minute video, and I got the message. Now I tried to do this through Outlook on Android, and I got the message that I was unable to attach. The total size must be less than 33 megs.
Yeah, and that's because of me. That's because I set our email limits.
Let me try it on. I'll try the same thing on my Gmail here and see what that does.
There are limits. No matter what service that you're using, there's going to be an upper limit.
This is telling me 25 is my limit, but it's not giving me, because I know there's an option to shrink the file size down. Because I did a project for a close friend that has cancer, and we collected a whole bunch of footage from a whole bunch of people, and it was killing me. Like, people were like emailing me video clips, and it looked like 8-bit Nintendo. Like, it was just like so compressed, terrible.
Okay. So, Nathaniel, when you were doing that project, did you have people sending you stuff from different types of phones, like some people on iPhone, some on Android?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big mix out there, which was a real pain in the ass because, on the iPhone, it's MOVs, on Android, it's MP4s. And, even though all of this stuff is supposed to be just drag and drop, everything works well together. I don't know if it was Adobe or what the hell it was, but trying to mix that stuff into the different formats, and then the people that did email it to me, even though I told them to Dropbox it, mixing all of that and just putting it onto a timeline, it just caused a lot of issues. I wound up encoding a lot of it. I wound up encoding all of it just to MP4 and building it that way.
Okay. Brian, are there any other strategies people can use to try to get through these kind of issues as they come up?
There's a couple of other things to consider in that too. Aside from just MP4 versus MOV, there's actually, like I'm looking at my phone right now, and on the iPhones, if you dig into the camera settings, there's actually an option in there that allows you to choose between high efficiency video and most compatible video. And even though they're MOVs, one of them is H.265 and one of them is H.264. Yeah. So if you've got people with older phones that aren't capable of sending H.265, or you've got a system, you're on a Windows system and you haven't installed anything that'll read an H.265 file, even though you're getting everything from iPhones of various different, format, or various different models, you could still have different types of files. And on top of that, in the camera settings, there's also different settings for frame rates. Like I just set mine to 24 frames a second because I like the film look. But if most people will probably be at 30 frames, and then some people might be at 60. And all of that stuff is going to throw you a curveball when you start getting into edit. I mean, we all know how different files and formats just become a jumble on the timeline.
Exactly.
If you can prep all of that ahead of time and show them how to do that, with a guide, like I know Patrick's guide was a great start, but there's even deeper levels that you kind of have to get to really, if you really want everything to be like a homogeneous file format from a bunch of different users.
Okay. So do you want to kind of build on that a little bit more? And let's put this in like an ideal scenario. What would be the best way to get files from someone's cell phone to your computer that are high resolution that you can actually use?
So the best way by far, the best way is, this is a problem, and it's a problem that we've actually looked at solving. So we have our next frame product that's coming out here pretty soon that is exactly targeted at this. It's one of the things that we've seen, like one of the biggest challenges that we've seen come out of this whole new COVID world, right? And this was something we were actually working on before all this kicked off. It just, we happened to luck out that it was, you know, the right place at the right time. And the whole point of it is you can record this video and basically have the raw media automatically uploaded to whoever requested the video from you. So like if you, Matt, have marketing material that you need from me or Nathaniel, you can send us a request. We can record it and it will send you, you know, the raw media directly, so we don't have to worry about emailing it, sending it, Dropboxing it, whatever it is. And if we do ramble on for 5 minutes, then you get the full 5-minute video. It does the transfer in the background and you cut it up however you want. So, you know, that's our swing at this. And so far it's been pretty cool. So we're going to start a beta here, you know,
in the next few weeks.
In the next few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, you know, previously people have been doing this obviously with Dropbox, and there's, you know, also Google Drive and a bunch of different options. But, you know, having done that project I referred to and working with a few other clients, pulling phone data to send to us, the problem that I've always run into is, you know, the Dropbox workflow requires somebody to have their account or access to your account, which adds a big layer of complexity, even though it doesn't seem that hard. You know, set up a Dropbox account, you know, have a shared folder, install Dropbox. But when you're actually like stepping somebody through all those steps, like I was trying to do that, and it's a real hassle for a lot of people out there just don't have Dropbox, aren't using it. And boy, it's a pain in the butt.
And on top of that, like in a situation, you know, like you're talking about where you're getting one piece of media from a bunch of different people, now you've got to do that with, you know, 10 or 15 people who you may never pull another piece of media from again, ever, you know? And so it's a huge time once you kind of scale it up into having a bunch of people involved.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for all that information. It was really helpful. So thanks, everyone, for joining us for this week's Tech Talk. Stay tuned next week for our latest episode, and don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and follow us on social media. If you'd like to learn more about our NextFrame product that we just mentioned, go to promax.com/nextframe, or feel free to reach out for any questions you have. And if you want to sign up for the beta, hit the link at the bottom of that page. If there's anything else you'd like to see us cover in a future episode, feel free to reach out or leave a comment below. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.